Gary, I'm going to swing it to you first. I know you have a lot of family ties with this question, so I had to make sure I bring it to you first because I know they're all here listening. So, Gary, fact or cap? This will be Dak Prescott's last season as a Cowboy.
Ooh. He hasn't got his deal, right? What's the deal situation? I'm not really.
So he's estimated to get 3-year, 180, which is $60 million guaranteed.
But he hasn't signed his deal yet.
Feels like he got paid yesterday.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, so his contract's up. This is his last year. He still hasn't got to sign the extension. He hasn't signed the extension yet, correct? Yeah. Okay. Am I speaking for a Cowboys fan? I don't think they want that. The vibe I'm getting from Cowboys Nation, I don't feel like they believe in Dak. They want a new quarterback. They want a cheaper quarterback. So I would say cap on if Dak Prescott and the fan base want to have that, we'll still want him. I feel like, it's been too long now, too much winning this league, man. If you're not winning quick enough, there's too many young guys coming out, and we see it year after year who are making big splashes or changing franchises. We can go down the list of Joe Burrow, and we just talked about a guy, C.J. Stroud, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. New guys are coming on the scene within 2 or 3 years and changing dynamics of whole teams and franchises' future. And yes, Mr. Dak Prescott has been a solid, consistent guy, and hasn't been the greatest, hasn't been the, totally horrible, has been pretty consistent, Kirk Cousins type, I guess you could say, in a way. So, but at the end of the day, if they want to win a championship, then it's a cap, man. Because you know why? Because at the end of the day, Jerry Jones is probably going to keep him because he just wants to – he just keeps people. Just keeps them there a long time. And he's not like my team where we actually see some success and we have reasons to keep him. They keep him even when they do bad, in a sense, and they don't fall on expectations. So, I feel like that he's not – I don't feel like he should – I feel like basically the Cowboys are going to pay him, but they shouldn't pay him. Sorry to say that.
All right, so I'm going to swing it to you next, Shaun. 2024 will be Dak Prescott's last season as a Cowboy.
This is absolute cap, and I'll tell you exactly why. Jerry Jones is okay with having 12-win seasons and first-round playoff eliminations. Why? Because it helps the bottom dollar. He gets fans to sell out the stadium during the regular season because they're going to beat the Patriots 35-3. And then you even get to sell playoff tickets. If you win the division, then you get a home playoff game. That's enough for Jerry Jones because he's proven time and time again that if you are willing to have a guy like Dak Prescott as your starting quarterback for this long, or a guy like Tony Romo as your starting quarterback for as long as he did, that you're okay with not winning a Super Bowl because you haven't been making moves that will get you there. You've been making moves that help your overall profitability. And maybe Jerry Jones is angling to sell the Cowboys for $5 billion because they're one of the most valuable sports franchises in the world. But as far as winning a Super Bowl, he doesn't make the moves that will – I mean, he doesn't –
It's not even Dak's fault.
To me, he just doesn't even take that many chances. But to me, the reason why I say it is Dak's fault, Gary, I mean, Jerry's actions aren't Dak's fault. But Dak, to me, has a ceiling of potential. And also, Dak finished second in MVP voting last year. And so unless he falls off a cliff, I don't think that the Cowboys will want to move on from him because ultimately, even if they wanted to, when they do move on, are they going to be getting someone who's better? Not in the immediate future unless you acquire a Pro Bowler like the Falcons did with a Kirk Cousins. But even with Kirk Cousins, it comes with the risk and liability of him being 35 years old, coming off of a torn ACL. Or ACL or Achilles?
Achilles.
ACL, right? Okay, Achilles. Thank you. And so you could take the risk on someone like that. But even Garry, in the middle of his response, grouped a Dak Prescott with a Kirk Cousins because that wouldn't even be much of an upgrade if the Cowboys did decide to move on. Yeah, and so, will the Cowboys completely start over? Probably not because, okay, this is really fucked up to say, but this is also the reality of the situation. Jerry Jones probably has, another 10 years in his life, if that. And
knock on wood.
He doesn't.
That's fucked up.
Knock on wood, I don't want to see the guy keel over tomorrow.
Yeah,
but I'm just being realistic.
Yes.
I'm just
That's
being
just
realistic here.
Nothing against the man.
Nothing against the man at all. But, would if you were in his shoes, Would you want to start a rebuild that's going to take
trading all
you
the
at least
picks if I was
5
in his
years?
shoes. If I was his shoe, I'm
Okay,
trading
but-
all my picks.
Well, yeah.
Doing
You
that.
say- Yeah. So anyways, to answer the question and just to wrap up, because I could go off on a tangent when it comes to the
Free
Cowboys
Dak.
and their
I'm gonna
nonsense.
do that for him. Free Dak. Let him go somewhere he can actually go try to do something. So this is
Kevin,
take this filthy
Cap.
coat off.
Factor cap 2024 will be Dak Prescott's last season with the Cowboys. So let's play a numbers game. So I told you guys he's projected to get 3 years, 180 million, 60 annually. Let me tell you what he makes now. He makes 40. So let me tell you the guys that make more money than him. Joe Burrow at 55, Justin Herbert at 52.5, Lamar at 52, Jalen at 51, Russell at 48.5, Kyler at 46.1, Deshaun 46, Patrick Mahomes 45, Josh Allen 43. Is there one quarterback on there that you don't believe that he's better than Dak Prescott? Are you going to pay Dak Prescott more money than the Bengals pay Joe Burrow? He's been to a Super Bowl.
Yes. And the reason why I will say that, Kevin, is because, and I say this in the most respectful way, none of that shit matters, because every time a quarterback that's a starter in the NFL has to get paid, they just keep resetting the market. And so as eloquently as you just put that, and as much sense as it makes, it's not going to happen, because it's all about supply and demand. And that if your time has come up to get a new contract, like when Dak got paid 4 years ago, which because of COVID, it feels like it just happened yesterday. But when he got paid, he reset the market. And that's what's going to happen every single time you have a starter, unless it's like a mid-tier starter, like a Daniel Jones, where you take the middle. But otherwise, if it's a guy that's finishing second in MVP voting, he's certainly going to reset the market, even if we don't think he's worthy of it.
Then why didn't they pay him already?
Because Jerry likes to drag his feet, just like he did the last time Dak
let me tell you, we're playing numbers games. So let me tell you who also needs new contract within the next season. Michael Parsons and CD Lamb. Are you going to have to say goodbye to one of them because you kept Dakota Prescott? He is 2-5 in the playoffs. Out of 169 quarterbacks with one playoff win, only 7 have a worse winning percentage. You're going to pay all that money for Dak Prescott. And everyone sits here and calls Kirk Cousins a regular season merchant and a regular season numbers guy, but Dak Prescott, the narrative's different. You might as well trade him and get what you can get. You can get a second, get a third round pick, and do what the Vikings did, man. Try to find your way to get another first and then hopefully trade up. That's all the narrative is. You just got to trade up for a guy. You just have to speed up this process, because sitting here doing the same thing over and over and over isn't going to do them anything. Now, you can say Dak Prescott got hurt. You can say the defense didn't show up against the Packers. He wasn't the same man he was in the regular season. Last season they said it because on the road, A, B, C, and D. There's always an excuse, but Dak Prescott just isn't that guy. I mentioned the quarterbacks that make more money than him, and you're going to sit here and agree to pay him more money than those guys? They're named Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, MVPs. Like, there's no way in hell the Cowboys need to resign him. But like Shaun mentioned, Jerry Jones is going to do what Jerry Jones does. He's going to hold out and eventually is going to hand him a blank check. So, unfortunately, it's probably going to be continued on after this year. But I definitely think this needs to be Dakota Prescott's last year.